Hi and welcome to Erik Penser Bank. My name is Ludvig Svensson and I'm an equity analyst here at the bank. With me today I have Klaus Sindahl of Hansa Biopharma. Welcome.
Hi and good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So you published your Q4 report recently. Could you please briefly walk us through the main events during this period?
Absolutely happy to do so. Yeah, so we had a quite eventful fourth quarter, and actually things have also started out on a positive note here in 2022. So with the recent announcement of a new partnership or collaboration within gene therapy and AskBio, but I can get back to that. But if we start on the commercial side of things, the launch plan is tracking according to plan, with our market access efforts in Europe progressing really well. I mean, we have now pricing reimbursement secured in 4 countries, including Sweden, the Netherlands, and also in Finland and in Greece on a hospital basis. Beyond these 4 countries, we have additional 10 processes ongoing. What you call health technology assessment dossiers have been submitted in 10 additional countries, including the largest 5 markets in Europe. And we should hopefully see the first conclusions or outcome in Germany and in the UK here in the first half, while Spain, Italy, and France may come later this year. So everything is going well. We have now also 10 hospitals which have been qualified as clinical ready. So they are now set up for logistics. They've been educated. They have a local protocol. So they are ready to take on patients as we see a growing patient pipeline. And then we also have a work stream or a guideline for these highly sensitized patients being drafted right now with ESOT, and we should expect to see something come out of that effort here in a not too distant future in the first half. So on the commercial side, things are progressing as planned. As we talked about, it will be an S-shaped launch curve. So sales will initially be lumpy and low until we have established the foundation for repeat business at a clinical level. And then from 23 and onwards, we should see more exponential growth for the commercial uptake of Idefirix in Europe. When we talk about the pipeline, we have a number of ongoing studies. More recently, we have initiated a new US, or what we call ConfIdeS study in kidney transplantation. And here we are targeting 64 highly sensitized patients who will be randomized to either imlifidase treatment or remain on the waiting list in the US. And this study is expected to qualify for a BLA submission in the first half of 2024 under the assumption that everything goes as expected. So we have now enrolled 2 patients in the US, and we expect to have up to 15 clinics involved in this trial. Looking beyond kidney transplantation, we have a few other studies going on in AMR, so post-transplantation for antibody-mediated rejection episodes. We have now 23 patients out of 30 enrolled to that study and expect to complete enrollment in the first half of this year with a data readout in the second half of the year. When it comes to our second study in Guillain-Barré syndrome, we have now the timeline under review because of a few challenges with regards to access to IVIG, which is part of the study protocol. We have seen COVID also impacting staff availability at the clinics, and we have seen the lockdown also impacting priorities at a number of clinics, especially in France, where we have the majority of our centers going on. So we have said that we will review the guideline in the coming month, and then in April we will communicate the path forward. So that's where we are on GBS. Anti-GBM, we expect to initiate a new phase 3 study in up to 50 patients, where we would recruit from more than 25 centers across US and Europe, and that's expected to commence in 2022. We've also announced a new commercial collaboration with Medison. Medison Pharma is an Israeli company, healthcare company, and they will help us as a distributor in a number of Eastern European countries and Israel. So that's a great partnership which will expand our profile internationally. And then finally, I also wanted to mention that we have communicated that we will explore a new area, allogeneic hematopoietic stem cell transplantation, also known as bone marrow transplantation. And here the intention is to basically do what we have done now in kidney transplantation, help sensitized or highly sensitized patients get access to stem cells, or I mean, in many cases, these highly sensitized patients cannot access stem cells, so they will have these rejection episodes. And by taking down the IgG, we hope to see a good impact on the engraftment and survival for these patients. So that's clearly an unmet medical need, and we'll get back to that as things progress. But we have initiated dialogue with the regulatory authorities on this. So I'll hand it back to you, Ludvig.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that wrap-up, Klaus. And if we stop by at the sales number for the fourth quarter, they came in at 15 million crowns, which is nearly half of the full year 2021 sales. Should we see this as a sign that the market uptake is picking up for the product?
Yeah, I mean, clearly we are commercial now and we have gotten in at the hospitals, but we still want to communicate that we are not there yet where we have built the foundation in kidney transplantation. We need to ensure a positive outcome at the clinics to start to see repeat business. So it's very important for us that we, start in the leading centers for them to generate experience and be the reference for other centers, and that we secure positive outcome in the first few patients before they will start to take in new patients. So sales will be low and lumpy here in the first 1 or 2 years before you will start to see that foundation built. And it's very, very important that we do it in a diligent manner. If you look at the 4 phase 2 studies we did to get the approval, only 5 clinics were involved. So you should almost see the initial commercial phase as an extension of the trials, as the clinics and the doctors need to generate experience themselves before we will see repeat business at a center level. So expect it to be low and lumpy, as I said, before we will see more exponential growth from perhaps the second part of 2023.
Yeah, I understand. Interesting. And hopefully the market has accepted this kind of process by now. If we look at this bone marrow transplant that you mentioned, could you tell us more about the plan here? And can you also comment if there are some kind of timeline?
Yeah, I mean, what we have communicated right now, as I initially said, is that we have chosen this area as a very interesting area for us as a strategic priority. And we have started to do some exploration in this area and also initiated dialogue with the regulatory authorities. And clearly there's an unmet medical need. I mean, and it matches the path we have been on for kidney. But we're not there yet where we can sort of discuss a development plan until we have sort of had the dialogues finalized with the regulators. But clearly we hope to leverage some of the very good data we had in kidney transplantation, and we hope to communicate more as or in the coming quarters and years, of course, if we can initiate studies here. Clearly, there's good synergies with what we did in kidney transplantation, unmet medical need, and there's a large number of patients who are in need for a technology like imlifidase.
Interesting. And finally, Klaus, the share price has obviously come down a bit lately in Hansa. Why do you believe it is an interesting point in time now for investors to consider an investment in Hansa?
I think we are uniquely positioned with the platform, the technology we have at hand, and also it's validated from a number of angles. First and foremost, of course, the regulatory approval and the commercialization now in kidney transplantation. But secondly, we have also proof of concept in the first autoimmune indication in anti-GBM, and we have also now established 2 collaborations in gene therapy with AskBio and Sarepta. So clearly there's a huge recognition externally. And last year we also initiated a preclinical collaboration to investigate imlifidase in combination with efgartigimod, so argenx FcRn inhibitor for potential combination therapies. I mean, so we have a unique opportunity here with a technology which has applicability in so many different areas. And what you should look out for is, of course, that we continue the validation in new indication areas and hopefully see good data from that, which would further validate the platform and generate value for shareholders eventually.
Okay. Thanks, Klaus, and thank you for this call.
Happy to be part of it and wish you all a nice weekend.